Hello, everybody. This is your 6-year-old carnival friend George from Bridgewater in Somerset. This is the first of a three-parter that I'm going to do, which is going to be about Laney's cancer journey. Basically, it's ongoing and things have changed just recently, so I thought we'd just talk about actually what happened and the history of it. So we have to really go back to 2021-22 when she was working. She was working as a housekeeper in the Mercure Hotel in Bridgewater in Somerset. And the first sign that things had changed is that she started dramatically losing body weight. She went from a size 16 dress down to a size 8 in the space of a year or so. And probably lost about 6 stone in the process, 6 stone being 80 odd pounds. So that was a bit of a mystery to say the least. We put it down to the fact that she was eating fairly healthily. She was relatively low carb back in those days. And of course, she was doing a very physical job. She went for a scan in April of 2022 and nothing was revealed. There was nothing wrong. But over the course of the summer, she noticed that there was a change in her left breast. There was a kind of a lump. She put it down to the fact that the weight loss had meant that the old scar which she had from having a fibroid removed back in 2005 or 2004, shortly after we were married, she thought that's what she could feel. Um, However, obviously, it was quite important to go for a biopsy, and it turned out there was, in fact, a growth there. We did hope it was another benign fibroid, but unfortunately, the biopsy revealed a 5 centimetre by 5 centimetre tumorous cancer growth, which had obviously appeared since the scan in April 2022. So it was, in fact, quite an aggressive, rapidly growing tumour. So, yeah, before she got the diagnosis, she visited her doctor, and the doctor told her to hope for the best but prepare for the worst. And I think it was on September the 22nd that in Taunton, Musgrove Park Hospital in Taunton, that she was given the diagnosis of breast cancer. I was working just up the road, so I rapidly came down to meet her, and we tried to process the information that we'd just been given, which was obviously a bit of a shock to say the least. Things very rapidly developed from there. It was an aggressive cancer, so it needed rapidly sorting out. So she went straight on to a course of chemo, which was supposed to be 6 treatments over the course of that winter. She had a PICC line put in. Apparently, that was quite a drama. She was wearing a white cardigan, which was a bad choice, and the insertion of the PICC line didn't go smoothly. There was a lot of blood involved, and the white cardigan wasn't not white by the time she finished. It was actually covered in blood. But the PICC line eventually did go in successfully. A PICC line is how they insert the intravenous the chemotherapy. So the chemotherapy started. She was warned that she might lose her hair, but there is something called a cold cap, which can save your hair, but it is very cold. It's freezing, literally. And she tried it, and it was just too painful. So she opted instead to dispense with the cold cap, and it was inevitable that she would lose her hair, which she did. When it started falling out in chunks, our daughter Chloe came and shaved her head for her. She went down the route of trying a couple of wigs, one very expensive one less so. They did suit her, but she found them very uncomfortable, very hot. So instead, she opted for the route of wearing headscarves, silk headscarves, which kind of became a signature for her over the course of the next year or so. She found them a lot more comfortable, a lot cooler. Now, there were supposed to be 6 courses of chemotherapy. However, after the 5th, it was discovered that it was really having no effect. So the 6th one was cancelled. And she instead, on April the 12th of 2023, she went in for her mastectomy. I was expecting her to stay in overnight. I thought it'd be quite it would be a debilitating operation, but she was actually released very quickly. And when I got the call to come and collect her, she was sat on the end of the bed, fully dressed, waiting for me with a cup of tea. So we got her home. Now, after a mastectomy, there has to be a draining of fluid. and there was a glass bottle which she had to wear under her arm, which drained the fluid. It wasn't supposed to fill up, but it did, and we had to go back into the hospital to ER on the Sunday. But they were pretty good with her because she was a cancer sufferer with no autoimmune really system. Her immune system was compromised, so we weren't kept hanging around in the waiting room. We was taken straight back into a fairly sterile environment, and that was dealt with fairly promptly. So fair enough. During the operation to remove the left breast, she had many lymph nodes removed from under her left armpit, and that has led to long-term lymphedema, more of which we will talk about in the later editions of this. So she'd had the chemotherapy, she had the mastectomy, and it had to be backed up that summer with a course of radiotherapy. So the poison cut burn treatment, and the radiotherapy was the burn part of that. So once that was completed, it was expected that she would then return to work, and she would be living, the hair would gradually grow back, and she would be living a relatively normal life again. However, that wasn't to be the case. We received a letter which informed us that in the biopsy of the removed breast tissue, it had been established that she'd actually got a condition called Paget's nipple disease. Paget's nipple disease is a sign of a high risk of metastatic Paget's bone cancer. So she was an exceptional case, which meant that she could not go back to work. She became registered disabled, and she had to go on a further course of therapy which would last for 2 years. That will be the story for next time. What happened at this point, I will just call it breast cancer with Paget's nipple disease. But when we dive into the further 2 years of treatment, we will talk more about the positive, negative side of things, and also the treatments. There are various different treatments, one of which proved to be very debilitating indeed. So that really sets a scene for what's happened since September of 23 up until now, September of 25. So 2 years of further treatment, which has been a very up and down experience, to say the least. But yeah, so that really sets the scene for what's happening at the moment. Part 2 will be what's happened in the last 2 years, because she's ended one course of treatment last Tuesday, the 9th of September, and a new phase in the treatment is about to start. But I'll leave the Lainy's cancer journey there. I will use this as an opportunity to do a quick catch up on what's going on in the carnivore world at my end. As you know, we are organising a meetup on November the 15th in Cainton Mandeville Village Hall, which is very near Sourdown Farm, where we had the meetup back in the summer. So tomorrow at 9:30, myself and Lauren Tucker are meeting with the local council, the Village Hall. We will establish the such things as cost, viability, how we're going to seat people. I believe that they actually provide cutlery and crockery themselves. How we're going to deal with the music license, maybe, and all the typical logistical questions that need addressing. Much more fun will be when we go from there to visit Ashley, the caterer at Home Farm, in his butcher's shop. He's told me that he will be there tomorrow and look forward to meeting us, and we will be discussing the ideas for the 3-course meal which is being proposed. Probably in my head at the moment, which is yet to be confirmed, it will be a charcuterie first course, maybe salami, chorizo, maybe some bacon, maybe some pigs in blankets, something which is a good starter, a good carnivore starter. And then I'm going to propose that the main course should consist of a plate containing half a pheasant on one side and maybe half a pound of venison on the other. Maybe Ashley will recommend more, I'm not sure, but we will run that past him tomorrow. And for the third course, we are talking about a cheese board, a Somerset cheese board. Now, I've done a bit of research, and obviously we all know that there is very good strong cheddar locally, because cheddar is 22 miles from the Keynes Mandeville Village Hall where we're going to be. So we'll have definitely have a good local cheddar. Somerset also creates its own brie, a soft cheese in the French style. And I've just done some research, and Somerset does have a blue cheese industry as well, Bath Blue and Draycott Blue. So we will discuss that with Ashley, and that will be basically the 3 courses which I'm proposing. It may be that the committee and Ashley himself throw in other ideas, maybe change it, tweak it, but that's really what I've got in mind at the moment. So that's the news from the November meetup. Now next Thursday, the 25th at 7:30 p.m. myself, Stephanie Taylor, Carl Day, and Lauren Tucker will be doing a panel show hosted by Kerry Mann of Healing Humanity. Kerry is very kindly taking a great interest in this this meetup. Off the back of the fact that we were able to send a considerable sum of money, which we'll probably announce next Thursday, across the sea to help with Healing Humanity. And yeah, so he is obviously very delighted with our efforts back in the summer, and he's very kindly agreed to host this panel show next Thursday to announce the November meetup, which we just talked about, and also the meetup at Sourdown on the 13th of June next year, which will be the Great British Meetup Take 2. Yeah, there's rumours of a bit of a attendance from America. I know that my new friend Angela Lero, is hoping to come over for it. She will be on with us on Sunday school at 6 p.m. on this Sunday. So hopefully we'll be discussing it then. I met her by phone in Wyoming through a mutual friend, and we had a good half-hour talk then. She's very enthusiastic, and it'll be nice to actually interview her on Sunday. Very much looking forward to that. So that's the news about what's coming up in the as regards the meetups. And of course, the other meetup which I am involved with is one in America itself, over in Wyoming, where I spent the weekend at the back end of August, which is known as the Rendezvous City Beef Roundup, and it's in Riverton in Wyoming. Myself and Lainy propose to be there for it next year, and we would like to encourage anybody from the UK to come with us, because I know now how easy it is. It's not cheap, but it's actually not very difficult to get to Riverton at all, where there is good accommodation and good transport infrastructure. So anybody interested in that, just give me a shout. Also, to any of my American friends watching this, or even Australians, we'd love to see you there as well, because again, it's not difficult to get to Riverton. You can either drive. There was a lady from Texas who joined us for the weekend when I was there. It took her 2 days to drive there. And also there was a lady from Idaho who again split the journey into 2. So it's or you can fly into Denver and get the Denver to Riverton short hop, about less than an hour. And Riverton Airport is really very easy. It's very small, and Riverton Airport is only 10 minutes outside of town. So that's it for the moment. Lainy's part one of Lainy's cancer journey and the catch up on what's happening in the carnival world at my end. So I shall end this here, reach across and press the button and go beep in the manner of Kerry, and I'll see you on the next one.